Now on CoastTV News.
Vote deferred. Sussex County Council is holding off on a rezoning decision while the fight over turning a Rehoboth horse farm into apartments and shops is heating up. Toxic tides. 1 year ago, medical waste washed up on beaches from Rehoboth to Assateague. Why the source remains a mystery.
We're continuing to track the rain and the wind and let you know when it'll finally come to an end.
This is CoastTV News at 11.
Tonight, new information in the murder of 31-year-old conservative activist Charlie Kirk. Good evening, and thank you for joining us. I'm Christina DeRobertis. Prosecutors filed formal charges against Kirk's suspected killer. He made his first court appearance today, and Sherelle Hubbard has details on exactly what charges he's facing and why investigators believe they have the right person.
Tyler James Robinson intentionally or knowingly caused the death of Charlie Kirk.
Tyler Robinson, the 22-year-old suspect in the killing of conservative commentator Charlie Kirk, appeared virtually in Utah State Court on Tuesday, where he was formally charged.
Notice conviction of this offense may carry the death penalty.
Utah County Attorney Jeff Gray announcing he will seek the death penalty in the case.
I do not take this decision lightly, and it is a decision I have made independently as county attorney.
Robinson now faces 7 criminal counts.
Count 1, aggravated murder, a capital offense for intentionally or knowingly causing the death of Charlie Kirk under circumstances that created a great risk of death to others. Count 2, felony discharge of a firearm causing serious bodily injury, a first-degree felony.
According to charging documents, Robinson's DNA was found on the trigger of the rifle used in the shooting. Prosecutors also outlined incriminating text messages between Robinson and his roommate. Prosecutors say Robinson's mother recognized her son from images on the news and raised concerns to his father, who confronted his son.
Robinson implied that he was the shooter. When asked why he did it, Robinson explained there is too much evil and the guy, referring to Charlie Kirk, spreads too much hate.
In the end, Robinson turned himself in. I'm Sherelle Hubbard reporting.
And Robinson will continue to be held without bail. A judge has appointed him an attorney, and his next court hearing is scheduled for September 29th. Also making national headlines tonight, the judge hearing the case against Luigi Mangione has dismissed 2 terror-related charges against him. You'll remember Mangione is accused of gunning down former United Healthcare CEO Brian Thompson last year. The judge says those 2 charges are legally insufficient. Mangione still faces a count of murder in the 2nd degree, and he made an appearance in state court in Manhattan Tuesday to dismiss that murder charge, since the 27-year-old is facing federal charges for the same killing. Mangione faces a possible life sentence if convicted in New York State Court. The Justice Department has announced it will seek the death penalty against him in the federal case. Now back here at home, we have an update on the request to rezone a horse property on Route 24. The Sussex County Council deferred a vote on rezoning the land this afternoon after a very lengthy public hearing. On your screen now is what Bellmead LLC wants to turn the land into. They want apartments and businesses. Right now, the entire piece of land is zoned agricultural residential. That must change to a commercial C4 district before any further approvals can happen. Those with the project say it will offer much needed affordable housing and has gotten the support of nonprofits, but the spokesperson for the Route 24 Alliance wanted council to deny the request today.
Bellmead is requesting a change of zone to C4, and they do not meet the minimum district requirements, 2 of them, for a C4, and therefore the county council must deny them.
Again, council deferred a vote on this today. The public comment period will remain open for 6 weeks. Now we're taking a live look into Lewis. It's been a rainy, gloomy day today, and our first alert chief meteorologist Paul Williams joins us now with a check on that forecast. Good evening, Paul.
Good evening. You know, the thing about the rain that's kind of ironic is the fact that it's steadily raining, but it's not raining a whole lot at the particular sites that we measure, but it's raining a lot in sites where we don't measure, like it's been raining really hard right here at the studio. but it's technically not a meteorological site per se. But we are expecting winds to pick up momentum in Lewis, for example, by 2 o'clock in the morning, with steady showers continuing to be the tail of the tape. Now, look at where the wind gusts are right now. 46 to 37 mile per hour gusts between Indian River Inlet and Bethany Beach. 34 mile per hour wind gusts right now in Rehoboth. Now, as far as peak gusts are concerned, we got up to 48 in Indian Beach, 44 Indian River Inlet, 46 Lewis, 41 Fenwick Island. So it's been blustery all day long. Now we have flood watch in effect for a Chincoteague area. And then to our north, we had concerns for a coastal flood advisory that's been allowed to expire. But the wind advisory and the concern for beach erosion, that continues to be at the forefront of what's happening with the forecast, with the rain that's still making its way towards us, making its way and being felt throughout portions of Highway 113 as well as 26. And we have wave upon wave is still on the way because this is part of a bigger system that has a rotating low right along the most southern portions of the Delmarva Peninsula. Coming up, we'll talk more about how much more we have to deal with this rain and wind and all this ugly looking weather, Christina.
Okay, thanks, Paul. Well, you may remember it was 1 year ago when medical waste washed ashore Delmarva's beaches. For a few days, it shut down swimming all the way from Rehoboth Beach down to Assateague. Everything from syringes, needles, to feminine hygiene products were found in the sand. Now, a year later, we asked several agencies, the Coast Guard, Maryland DNR, Assateague National Seashore, DENREC, and more, was the source ever located? DENREC and DNR, two of the roughly 60 agencies investigating, both had no updates. Some people we spoke to today are confused about how that could be.
I have no idea where the waste could have come from or why it would have washed up on the shores like this. I don't know.
And 1 year later, of course, the waste is now gone, but it seems plenty of questions still remain on how it got there, where it came from, and who is responsible. DENREC is considering increasing park fees for the first time in 10 years. DENREC did not say how much it's considering upping the fees, but says more information will be forthcoming September 30th. DENREC hosting 3 open houses on their plans. The Sussex County open house is scheduled for Wednesday, October 1st in the Officers Club at Cape Henlopen State Park. DENREC says since the last fee increase, operating expenses have gone up 127%. Now, a heads up for drivers in the Ellendale area. DelDOT says part of North Old State Road will be closed later this month for pipe removal and installation. The closure begins September 29th through Friday, October 10th. That's weather permitting. Avelo Airlines is extending its service in Wilmington this spring. It is the only commercial air service in Delaware, and it says it's adding a 3rd aircraft to help service. According to the Bethany Beach Volunteer Fire Company, the fire company is receiving fewer donations than it has in years past. Fire officials say they rely on those donations to keep fire and EMS operations available throughout the year, but the fire company thinks it could have something to do with property tax hikes. Take a look at your screen. Instead of donations, the fire company says they've been getting these letters. Residents saying property tax bills have gone up too much and they just don't have money to give. But according to the fire company, those taxes don't actually help the fire company.
We have one local town that gives us a small donation every year, other towns that don't support us financially at all.
Now, if you would like to donate to the Bethany Beach Volunteer Fire Company, you can head over to CoastTV.com to learn how. Delaware Governor Matt Meyer is looking to extend tax credits under the Affordable Care Act. In a letter, which you can see on your screen here, Delaware, along with 17 other states, including Maryland, are urging Congress to extend the ACA's premium enhanced tax credits. Supporters say it helps lower monthly health insurance premiums for millions of Americans, making health care more affordable. The credits are set to expire at the end of the year. Now, at a press conference earlier this afternoon, the governor spoke on the impact he says letting the bill expire would have on Delawareans.
Families across Delaware will be forced into impossible choices as a direct result of their action. Rural regions, in particular rural parts of our state in Kent and Sussex County, particularly could see premiums that have been predicted to spike something like 90%, nearly doubling healthcare costs.
According to the Urban Institute, more than 16,000 Delawareans could lose important subsidies if the bill expires. Some new protections for these pups. Delaware is now the latest state to put in place an animal abuse offender list, which will be maintained by the Office of Animal Welfare. That list will be public with names and photos of convicted abusers. The bill prohibits animal shelters from approving adoptions to anyone on the list. A ceremony was held today at the Brandywine Valley SPCA, and animal shelters say this tool will help in vetting potential adopters.
You don't always 100% know. So this is just another safeguard for us to be able to rely on to make sure we're doing our best for the animals that are relying on us.
And McKinley added that after the adoptions are approved, the humane animal partners still keep in contact with adopters, looking to know if the animals continue to be safe. And this story brings us to our Coast TV poll this evening. We want to know if you support the new animal abuse registry. Looking at the results, most people today have been saying yes. A pretty big 98% say yes, but 2% say no, they don't support it. We want to know what you think, and it is not too late to vote, so head over to coasttv.com or use our mobile app. And we are just getting started tonight. Coming up after the break, Delaware drivers will soon be able to show off some patriotic pride. We'll show you the new license plate available in the first state. But first, development along Kings Highway. Locals weigh in on what it could mean for housing, businesses, and the Lewis community.
And for the communities over by the bay, for the bay forecast, cloudy skies for Wednesday. Not quite as rainy and windy as today, but we're going back to some early morning showers on Thursday. But hey, we're looking better and brighter on Friday. Your full forecast in 60 seconds. Overall, it's been just rainy, drizzly, all that other stuff that ends with a Y that means yucky, okay? And the yuckiness continues for the rest of the night. Rehoboth Beach, we're at 70 degrees, dew point 66. But the winds, man, they've been more than feisty, to be quite honest. 25-mile-per-hour winds right now as we speak. And then it's going to become windier between 2 and 3 o'clock in Rehoboth. So I know you don't plan on being outside at 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning on the beach in Rehoboth with its winds in excess of 30 miles per hour. If you do, that's on you. Okay, 68 in Long Neck, Milton, Millsboro, Dagsboro, Gumboro, Georgetown, Delmar, and Salisbury. This is the trough that's developing all of this, and everything's running right along that trough with a great deal of instability connected to it. Now we have the wind advisory still affected along the beaches. So we're really bracing for like 30-mile-per-hour wind gusts steadily all over the place. And then we're looking out for beach erosion that's going to be happening from West Ocean City, down towards Ferry Landing Road, Golf Club, Shores, all the way down towards Chincoteague. And in Chincoteague, we're concerned about flood watches in effect for the area. It's similar to flash flooding because it's being propagated by the sudden drop of water, but it's also being helped along with the tide coming in, and then the waves also are lapping up. So it's kind of a combination of all three. So we weren't necessarily wrong by saying flash flooding, because we have gale wind warnings in effect with 40 to 45-mile-per-hour winds right off the coast. And we were concerned about the possibility of flooding throughout the inland areas. Even though the coastal flood advisory has been allowed to expire, we still have some leftover rain that's pushing across, particularly between Seaford and Salisbury. And take a look at some of the rainfall estimates. So Bayside Road and Scott's Landing Road, I kind of dig a little deep diving. And so we're looking at estimations near Boxy Iron, about 3.5 inches actually falling there, some isolated pockets. And then we have another one for 4 inches of rain that's fallen just to the east of Franklin City, south of George Island Landing. So we have some isolated spots where it's really raining hard. Other areas, not so much. And that's what I mentioned at the top of the weathercast. So we're looking at maybe, under an inch in a lot of our locations, but a decent 1/4 to a 1/2 inch in some areas. Now we did crack 1 inch of rain officially in Milford and Harbison, but just barely over that. But our estimate areas are a lot more impressive. Now these scattered showers are going to continue throughout Wednesday morning till about 5:30 in the morning. Then they will subside. Then there's the winds, 41-mile-per-hour winds for us. And some of the peak gusts between 37 up to 46-mile-per-hour wind gusts for several locations. And we're looking at it possibly dying down as early as 3 o'clock in the morning for Wednesday. But those winds and those storms are going to stay active. We're not expecting much more in the way of rain on top of what we've already received. So for Thursday, we'll see breaks in the sky, Some sunshine, and it will clear off for Thursday night, 67 degrees. Then it gets interesting because as you take a look at the 7-day forecast, we start escalating once again up to 85 glorious degrees for Friday with lots of sunshine. Cold front pushes through, and then we drop by 11 degrees Saturday and Sunday, but without rain. Interesting.
Interesting. Thank you, Paul. If you live in Sussex County, you've probably driven Kings Highway in Lewis. There are actually several developments in the works or proposed there on Kings Highway. And as Coast TV News reporter Emma Aiken shows us, the stretch of the road is changing. She shows us why it's driving worry from some community members.
Driving on Kings Highway in Lewis.
Irresponsible development.
That's how some locals, like Ron Collins, would describe what they see. Recently on the road, there's been a proposed shopping center, a development called Mitchell's Corner under construction, and a proposed independent living facility. Collins says he's not opposed to more housing, but is worried the Lewis he once knew will vanish.
Chaos, right? I mean, if you just think about the housing, you think about the high school, forget about football games and what have you. It's just mania. And I think it will have a negative impact on housing and have a negative impact on people who live there.
Local Gerald Kelly thinks there's already enough residential development in the area.
I kind of think there's a need for more commercial development and less residential because there's so much residential development going on. So if it's planned right, I don't have any problems with some additional commercial space.
These cones and construction behind me are part of the current phase of DelDOT's larger plan to widen Route 9 from 2 lanes to 4 lanes. They say this current phase will be complete in October, but they haven't said when the overall Route 9 project will be complete or the widening of the Kings Highway portion of the project. Reporting in Lewis, Emma Aiken, Coast TV News.
And a big part of development is, of course, construction. And this week is actually Construction Appreciation Week in Delaware. The Department of Labor and DelDOT are hosting free workshops, presentations, and job fairs this week. Earlier this evening, there was a Latinos in Construction workshop in Milford. And Friday, there is a hard hat and high heels workshop that's highlighting women in construction. The event on Friday, though, it is at United Electric Supply in Newcastle County. Now, red, white, and blue could be coming soon to a Delaware license plate. Governor Matt Meyer signed a bill creating a special tag to celebrate 250 years of American independence. The firework design will cost $50, with part of that money funding celebration events. Applications open September 22nd through the Delaware DMV. Coming up next, history at Harper's Ferry in West Virginia and how a White House order could change how America's story is told. And also coming up, the Pope speaking out against political violence, what he said during a discussion with the U.S. ambassador today.
This is Coast TV News at 11.
Pope Leo XIV shared his concerns about political violence during a discussion with the U.S. ambassador to the Holy See Tuesday. The Pope also told the ambassador that he is praying for Charlie Kirk, his wife, and his children. On X, the U.S. Embassy to the Holy See posted, quote, Pope Leo underscored that our political differences can never be resolved with violence, unquote. Well, despite persistent fears about the economy, a slowing labor market, and higher tariffs, spending at U.S. retailers rose 6.6% last month. That's unchanged from July's revised figure. August's retail sales beat economists' expectations of 0.2%. Employers have hit the brakes on hiring in recent months as Americans grow pessimistic about the economy's future. But still, consumers haven't really cut back their spending, and they may continue to spend if layoffs don't surge. The Trump administration has ordered the National Park Service to make changes to a National Historic Site in West Virginia. As reporter Brad Bell explains, according to the order, Harper's Ferry has to remove or cover up exhibits about slavery.
With its preserved buildings and exhibits, Harper's Ferry National Historic Site tells the story of abolitionist John Brown's 1859 raid on the federal armory here. He was after weapons to arm enslaved people to begin a war to end slavery. Well, there are also displays which tell of the hardships endured by those he aimed to free.
At the very heart of the interpretive array for this park is the story of American slavery and how people responded to that in the time of John Brown and that antebellum period.
But historian Alan Spears of the National Parks Conservation Association says he fears half of that story may soon be hidden.
So I'm worried. I'm worried and more than a little frustrated by this.
This is an order from the White House, first reported by the Washington Post, that the National Park Service remove or cover up about 30 signs or displays that have been determined by the Trump administration to disproportionately emphasize negative aspects of American history or historical figures. A park employee speaking to me anonymously today, confirming that yes, they have been ordered to remove or cover up this material, and they've been given just a matter of days to get it done. A source telling me that may include these displays inside the John Brown Museum, which tell of the suffering of enslaved people. Park visitors we speak to calling that a bad idea.
Don't cover up what we may need to know, and don't hide what you think we shouldn't know.
There were terrible things that happened, and we should feel terrible about it. And to cover it up or to hide it, I'm sorry, I just don't agree with it. I just don't.
During our time in Harpers Ferry, we saw no work to cover or remove any displays yet. We've asked the Park Service what will be taken down and when. We've not heard back.
Coming up in sports tonight, 2 local collegiate athletes are off to a hot start this fall. One of them has been getting it done on the peninsula for years. And in tonight's Health Minute, hidden heart attack risks, how new research shows what causes them and what to watch for.
And here's a look at your Gulf forecast. Listen, it's not so good, to be quite honest, because we're still expecting to be breezy with some scattered showers with temperatures in the mid-70s.
Well, it is still considered relatively rare for a younger adult to have a heart attack, but past research suggests that while heart attack rates have declined in older adults, they've increased in those under the age of 40, especially among women. And a new study is revealing some potential hidden causes of that changing trend. In tonight's Health Minute, Mandy Gaither looks at the data and what one of the study's authors hopes people take away from it.
In the U.S., it's the most common cause of heart attacks. Coronary artery disease causes the narrowing of arteries due to plaque buildup, restricting blood flow. But not all heart attacks are caused by blockages.
There are different types of heart attack and non-traditional heart attacks that can affect younger people.
Dr. Claire Raphael with Mayo Clinic is first author of a study that looks into why there's a concerning rise in heart attacks among young adults, especially younger women who don't necessarily have traditional risk factors like high cholesterol. She says 1 in 10 heart attacks in women under age 65 are caused by something called spontaneous coronary artery dissection, or SCAD.
The artery in the heart suddenly develops either a tear or blood forms around the outside of the artery, and that impedes the blood supply to the rest of the heart. So it causes a heart attack without having any cholesterol buildup.
Researchers say SCAD was nearly 6 times more common in women than men and typically affects younger and otherwise healthy women. Raphael says it can be triggered by something like intense exercise, but can also happen out of the blue. And she hopes this data brings awareness of more non-traditional causes of heart attack, even if more common causes aren't present, to prevent patients from being misdiagnosed.
Anyone can have a heart attack. It's not just older people or smokers. So if you have chest pain and you don't feel right, get it checked out.
For Health Minute, I'm Mandy Gaither.
Delmarva Sports Network from the Wawa Studios.
A local soccer star keeps dominating. Less than a month into his time with Salisbury University Soccer, Noah Blankensop has already got some hardware. He's the Coast to Coast Conference Offensive Player of the Week. And there's a good chance you remember Blankensop. He was a 2-time Bayside South Player of the Year and led Bennett to 2 conference titles. Last fall, he scored 31 goals. That momentum has carried from his time as a Clipper to his time as a Seagull. Blankenship tallied a goal and an assist in his first collegiate start against Messiah. Salisbury returns to the pitch tomorrow with a road trip to Rutgers-Camden. And how about another conference honor? Maryland Eastern Shore setter Jada Hutchins earned MEAC Rookie of the Week honors. The freshman recorded over 100 assists through 3 matches at the Hokie Invitational. Hutchins also put up 23 digs and 15 kills. And fall isn't just for soccer and volleyball, it's for marching band too. The Delmarva Sports Network has coverage of 6 marching band competitions featuring over a dozen schools from all across the peninsula. These competitions stream exclusively on DSN+. The music starts playing this Saturday, so make sure to tune in. And for more information on how to get access, head over to delmarvasportsnetwork.com and hit the DSN+ tab. That does it for sports. Have a great night, folks.
Here's what it's looking like in Salisbury right now. A live look outside, and we'll have one more check on your forecast after this.
We take a look at our Irish Ice camera in Lewis. We're 70 degrees right now. The winds and the rain have subsided in Lewis, at least briefly, but we're going to have more in the way of winds and rain making a comeback quickly, particularly between 2 and 3 o'clock in the morning. That seems to be the witching hour for another round of storms for everybody across the peninsula. This first wave is making its clearance right now, headed towards Vienna, but we have some additional showers that's coming in from the west. And you can keep up with your forecast by calling our weather line. Finally, here's a look at your 10-day forecast.
All right, looks good to me. Thank you, Paul, and thanks so much for being here for Coast TV News at 11 tonight. You can always find more news, more local weather on our Coast TV News app, and you can also get more news if you join us again tomorrow for Coast TV News at 5 a.m. The Tonight Show starring Jimmy Fallon's up next. Have a great night.